All right, hi everyone. We're going to be talking about section 4.6, Congress at Work and Making Laws, or more specifically, the process by which a bill becomes a law. So what's a bill? A bill is a proposed law for the House or Senate to consider. Usually the House or Senate members are not the ones to put bills forth. Normally, either the president comes up with a bill, or the committees that Ms. Lee mentioned are the ones who come up with bills and pass them on. So it's important to remember that bills related specifically to taxes have to come from the House. So there are two types of bills Congress considers. Very easy to remember. Public and private. Public bills are exactly what they sound like. Public bills impact the entire country. So a very wide tax law, that would be a public bill. A private bill impacts certain people or places, and we are talking very specific. The book mentions talking about a specific farm or cattle rancher in Utah or some state like that. So it can become extremely specific. To what degree we're talking about specific, I have a link to a website right here, GovTrack, where you can see current bills and the process and the extremely long process that it takes to get them to go. So this one was introduced in March 5th, 2019, and has nothing going for it, unfortunately for it. So you can see how long a process this is, and how specific individuals are involved in them. So what's a resolution? So resolutions are a little different from bills, but generally follow the same idea. So there are three types of resolutions. There's a joint resolution, which is, again, not a bill, but it has the same powers as a law if it gets passed. So it's for when extremely unique or specific circumstances show up. So the book mentions delegating funds to the presidential inauguration, which would have to be different every inauguration. So that is a specific circumstance. Next is concurrent resolutions. So that's when the House and Senate have to work together. And concurrent resolutions do not have to be signed by the president to get passed like a bill does. Simple resolutions, or just resolutions, deal with either the House or the Senate only. So if the House comes up with something as a simple resolution, they have to be the ones to settle it. The Senate cannot come in and go, oh, hey, here's our 2 cents on this. They have to leave it alone and let the House deal with it. So how a bill becomes a law, several steps. So first and foremost, the bill gets introduced, as we've talked about. Then the appropriate committee decides if the bill gets to move on. So this is where the committees that Ms. Lee was talking about before, the many, many, many committees that she was talking about before, come in. So if a bill has to do with defense funding, then it goes to a committee about defense. They send it off to the people who are experts in whatever the bill is talking about. And then the committee decides, all right, so do you think we should move this on to a law? Do you think it's important enough to pass this bill on and try and see it become a law? And if they decide to, on very rare occasions, then it gets to go to the floor of the House or Senate. And that's step 3. And in step 3, the bill can be changed somewhat to fit what the House and Senate want from it. So if it goes to the floor of the House, not everyone is obviously going to agree. They need enough votes to pass a bill and get it moving forward. So they have to change it in a way that makes more people agree with it. So moves on to Senate. Senate does the same process, and then the House and Senate vote on the bill after it has been made in a way that makes the most people vote for it. And changes made in either the House or the Senate need to be agreed upon by the House and Senate. And this is where a conference committee comes in. So in this meeting, everyone agrees on a common bill. This is where everyone goes, all right, I'm willing to take out this part for you since you don't like it and add this instead. Things like that. And just an idea of how long things can get stuck in this process. You can see in the picture, that is a legit picture from Bill stuck in the Senate. Not at present, but in the recent past. So here's an infographic to make it really simple for how a bill becomes law. Bill gets introduced, goes to the right committee, they review and mark it up, then the committee reviews it, marks it up, and votes on the bill to decide if it gets to go forward. Then they send it to the House and Senate, they debate it and vote on it. Then if the House finishes it, it goes to Senate. Senate considers it, everyone meets in a conference committee and decides from there. Do we like it? Do we not? What do I need to change? Then finally, again, everyone votes on it one more time, and then it moves on to the president. And the president gets to decide if he wants to sign it. He or she, maybe one day, gets to decide if they want to sign it. And if the president does sign it, the bill becomes a law. So, how a bill becomes law continued. The bill moves on to the president. As I said before, if it gets signed, it becomes a law. Now, if the president decides that they do not want to sign it, then that is called a veto. There's also a process called a pocket veto, where the president doesn't outright refuse to sign it so much as just ignore it and let time pass till the bill needs to be redone again. And so, again, but if the president does decide to sign it, then you have a law. One more quick thing, and this is especially important right now, is the idea of emergency legislation. So emergencies happen and Congress needs to act quickly. People are dying right now and Congress needs to act quickly on making legislation about the coronavirus, passing new laws related to it. This is just a screenshot of me Googling coronavirus legislation yesterday. So you can see all sorts of new stuff. There's the passing of a $484 billion coronavirus deal. There's hospital aid, new and small business aid. So emergency legislation is very important right now and has the unique situation where, because Congress is not actually in session right now, they can decide it without going through the extremely official process because it is an emergency. So it follows some similarities to a bill, but not all of them. And that is it. Okay, stay safe and healthy, everyone.